All right, guys, welcome back to Cool Times. What's up, cool people out there? We appreciate you guys listening back in, tuning back in. We talk all things cool about the cold storage industry, and joining me is my sidekick, my life partner and business partner, Jenna Free. And we are excited to have a special guest on today, Yannik Soll. Yannik, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
We're doing good.
We're excited to have Yannik on our third episode of the Cool Times podcast. He is 29 years old. He grew up in the Orange County area, now lives in Huntington Beach, and he graduated from the University of San Francisco with a degree in business, has worked in a variety of different sales and marketing jobs before he landed with us in cold storage.
Yeah.
His family industry.
Thank you, guys.
Cold storage.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Hey, it's about time you joined the industry, dude.
I know. That's what I've been hearing. It's about time.
Good Lordy. I for all the listeners out there, I've known Yannik for a very long time, probably since 2000, I would say 2008, 2009. And it didn't take long before you and I joined the same fantasy football league, and we just been at it ever since.
Here we go. Yeah, you got that in there real early.
I did. We'll talk about that later. But first off, dude, tell us everything about you. What's up, man? What's going on in your life?
Yes. Tell us about Open Concepts.
Yeah.
Okay. A little craziness. So I started a manufacturer's rep business about 7 months ago. And at that time, it was just repping a Jameson Door Company. So I can kind of get into how that all happened, because for the longest time, I thought I'd never be in this industry. You know, I thought I had escaped it, and here I am. So I'll kind of go through how that happened. After college, as you guys know, I got into real estate, and we ended up getting to work together, which was awesome.
Yes, you sold us.
You sold us our first house together.
Yes.
No one knows that, but now everyone does.
Thank you guys, by the way, for trusting a young 20-year-old kid with that.
You got us a beautiful house that we still carry in our hearts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
so you're
definitely.
awesome.
So I thought I'd wanted to be a real estate agent. After I figured out, okay, I love marketing, I love the branding, but I don't love being a realtor. I'm like, okay, how do I kind of go into a new field? So then I worked for a marketing company for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was selling direct mail marketing campaigns to franchises like McDonald's and Subway.
Okay.
So I was selling those marketing campaigns.
Sure.
Ended up switching over to the packaging world. I was selling packaging for a produce manufacturer that manufactures produce packaging for farms and distributors. Was doing that for a little bit, having a lot of success at that packaging company. Had gotten a bunch of promotions and was a VP of sales and marketing for that company.
Oh, wow, congratulations.
So I was doing great and I was enjoying it. And then one day my dad calls me and he goes, hey, I know I've called you in the past about some opportunities in cold storage construction. I know you're doing well and you probably don't want to jump into a new industry again, but I think this is a really good opportunity and I want you to talk with Dwight about it. I guess Dwight had called him and said, hey, I got something Yannik may be interested in.
And Dwight is the president of Jameson Doors, right?
Yeah, Dwight's the president of Jameson.
Got it.
So I go, Dad, because he's made that phone call to me, 2 or 3 times in the last 6, 7, 8 years about stuff like this. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll have dinner with Dwight. Totally not thinking about moving on from my current job, right?
Sure. Well, you're a bigwig at your old job too. Like you climb the ladder so fast.
Yeah, I was doing great. And I was just kind of, I hadn't been anywhere at that point over like 2 years. So I had reached my 2-year mark and I was going on 2.5. So I kind of felt like, I was building momentum.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, I had dinner with Dwight and he starts telling me about this opportunity. I had never heard about, manufacturer's rep or didn't know, what that was about.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great dinner with Dwight. He was telling me, how awesome of an opportunity this was. I remember after the dinner, I called my dad, told him how great it went. And he just started telling me, how good of an opportunity being a manufacturer's rep in our industry is. Thought about it for like a few days. And I'm like, oh my God, like, this is insane. Like it just felt so right.
Mm-hmm.
And,
totally.
And for the longest time, I had regretted not being in this industry, so.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go into that too, and I will.
Don't worry, we're gonna get into that. That's in my notes.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'll finish off with basically just with that story. just saying that it felt so right. And I knew like almost that next day that this is what I wanted to do. And I'm going to tell Dwight, like, I'm interested, what do I got to do?
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
did it happen really quickly after that, the transition to, starting Open Concepts and hitting the ground running?
It did. Yeah. Dwight got me a contract, I think within a few days, and I had reviewed it, and I was, I had signed it, and I was ready to go, and I was so excited. And my the owner of this packaging company that I was working for had needed me to stay a little bit longer than I had thought. I was thinking of just kind of putting my 2 weeks in and crossing my fingers, hoping that would be enough. He ended up having me stay, I think, about a month or maybe a little bit more. So I had some time to kind of create my LLC, kind of create Open Concepts, which was good. I needed the time.
So how'd you come up with that name?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was so hard for me. I had my notes app open on my phone for the longest time, just brainstorming ideas. I'm sending them to my friends. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, just putting random words together. And I got my dad involved, and he's kind of brainstorming back and forth. And he sends me Open Concept, and I go, Open Concept? That's like real estate, like you're remodeling your house, like you're changing up your kitchen. But I go, how about Open Concepts? That's a little bit different. I like that one. And he goes, love it. And I think we kind of just like both like was like, yeah, that's a good one. And I did never end up thinking of anything better. So I'm like, all right, Open Concepts it is.
I dig it. I dig the name. And you had a cool name too when you had your own real estate company. I thought you had the coolest logo, which I'm also going to get into. And also, well, tell us everyone what that name was.
Yeah, that was Crib Real Estate.
Yes, it was awesome.
I thought it was cool too. And the logo thing's a great story. Let's definitely get into it.
No, I mean, I should have had this pulled up, but are you still on the internet? Is Crib still on the internet at all, anywhere, or no?
No, I could have sent you, I could probably text you the logo if I go through my phone right now, but I don't think it's up anywhere. Maybe my old
Found
Zillow.
it.
Oh, there it is.
Don't you worry, I found it.
It looks so good.
So that's your logo, right? You can see that pretty good. Yeah, Crib Real Estate. So when we were in the middle of IASIC, was International Association of Cold Storage Construction. The acronym was just a mouthful, and we were trying to rebrand our cold storage building association. And we all went off to Mexico for a weekend of all the board members, and we brainstormed. And our only goal was to rename the show, rebrand the show, because we wanted to, I guess it wasn't just cold storage, because people aren't just building cold storage buildings. We're building food process plants, right? It might not be cold storage. It might be a controlled environment, right? So we started brainstorming, and we wanted to appeal to pharmaceutical companies and different companies that just weren't cold storage, because we were building all things controlled environment. So we came up with the Controlled Environment Building Association, CEBA, which, by the way, I have this here.
You can't take those off and walk away.
Yeah. Dude, I loved your logo so much. I'm like, what about this, you guys?
Yannik, look what you started.
So we kind of stole your logo, not all of it. We took ideas, and you are actually the mastermind behind that without even knowing it. And I think yeah.
I have a confession too.
Uh-oh.
When I was creating that logo for
You're not going to sue me, are you, for that?
No. I had found 2 real estate brokerages that I thought were super hip, and I loved both of their logos. So that logo that I created was kind of theirs combined and morphed into something.
But that's what we do, right? That's what we do, and we love it. I mean, it's you see so many different cool logos out there and ideas and names of companies, and you just kind of put all things together and right. So yeah, it's all good, man.
I took it as a compliment.
Dude, you should. It was awesome.
You definitely should. I always find that when someone copies you or imitates you, a lot of people get offended, but it really is a form of flattery. Totally, like it really is.
Yeah.
You're doing something cool. You're doing something that stands out, and we're taking notice of it.
Yeah.
I know there's some legalities and things with over copying stuff, but
well, yeah, of course. So your dad creates this, ginormous cold storage contracting company, and you're growing up throughout the whole thing. And at some point, I'm like, Yannick's going to work for his dad one day. It's just inevitable. Like, Yannick will work for Dean. It's going to happen. It's just when. And every time I would have conversations with Dean at like trade shows, when's Yannick coming? Yannick wants nothing to do with the business. Yannick doesn't want to do it. I don't think Yannick wants to work for me. I don't think he wants to do his own thing and like be his own person, create his own, destiny and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, flip of a switch,
Welcome to the cold storage industry.
You're
in it, but it's just, it didn't happen the way everyone, I guess, thought, right?
No, and I definitely want to get into this because this is interesting. And I like vaguely remember this, but I knew that I did not want to be a part of Sub-Zero. I don't know why. I didn't want to work for him. I didn't find the industry like that interesting. Like, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm young. I'm in high school, 15, 16 years old. I'm like, oh, like, he's in construction. Like, it wasn't interesting to me, and I didn't want to work for him. I don't know if it was because, I saw him so much at home, and he was, I don't know. I really don't know what the reason was, but I had no interest. And then I got really passionate about real estate for a while. My parents and I were so into $1 Million Listing on Bravo. Do you guys watch that?
Oh yeah,
sure.
That's a good
So like
one.
the real estate business was so glamorized from that, and I was young and naive. I'm like, dude, this is pretty cool. Like I like real estate. Like my parents have flipped homes, and they're super into interior design and architecture. So like I had already had a kind of a passion for that. So I'm like, okay, real estate's gonna be my thing. Like my dad's gonna do his construction thing. Like I don't really want to be a part of Sub-Zero or that world. Real estate's gonna be my world. But when I started realizing that, like, I really wasn't into it as far as being a realtor, and kind of just like having to go into the real world and like go try to find like what I wanted to do, then the kind of regret and like what did I do kind of started hitting me pretty hard. Like, gosh, how old was I? Maybe like 22, 23, 24. I'm 29 now. So,
So you're out of college at this point.
Out of college.
And you're just like, man, did I mess up? And I should have done it.
I said, yeah, I just thought like, what am I doing? And then I started hearing like how successful, how much the company's growing, like what he's actually built, like how awesome the people who worked there were, including yourself, like everybody there was.
Hey, thank you.
It was just like, yeah, I just had this like deep feeling of regret. And then like I stopped kind of remembering why I didn't want to work there. It was like it just became like the biggest regret in my life. I'm like, why didn't I do that? And then it felt too late. Then he had, sold the company via ESOP. So then it was like, oh my God, that ship totally sailed. Like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Do you ever look back and say, man, that company could have been mine?
Yes, all the time. All the time. Yes, yeah. All the time I did. Not from a greed or like money standpoint, but just like it would have been cool to like continue the legacy,
Sure.
And he built something so awesome. So it would have been cool to keep it in the family and continue that legacy. But everything happens for a reason. And, I'm here where I am today, and I get to build a new company with him. So like, now I don't have that feeling of regret anymore. It's completely gone.
Sure.
This is how it all kind of turned around.
It does.
Sure.
It does. And I think sometimes we need just time to see that vision. Like there's part of it there, but we can't see the whole picture. So.
Yeah. And honestly, Yannick, I wouldn't feel at all like the legacy's dying. I mean, he's instilled so many of his values into their people, and they're all great people, and that legacy is going to continue on with them. And you know what I mean? Like it's
100%.
Yeah. So I think you're good there, and you can have a clean conscience, if you will, for that.
But I also think,
they're crushing it. Yeah.
Yes. And I also think it's what you had just said. And what is really cool is that the two of you are at a place in your life now where you're building something new together. You're creating an extension.
100%. I don't think it's the right time in my life now. Maybe it wasn't 5 years ago, but
totally.
It's the right
time. If anyone knows about timing, it's us.
Yeah.
So if what people don't know, that some people listening now might not know who, your dad is and what he's done. And I won't get into the details, but, he sold his company as an ESOP, started a panel manufacturing company, sold that within a year. Right. And then kind of became his own rep, if you will, for a little bit in between there. But after they sold the panel manufacturing company, he kind of transitioned to be a rep. And if my understanding right, he's working for you now.
That's what I like to say. We merged, if you will, our rep businesses. He was repping floor insulation and recently got the opportunity to rep, TrueCore panels. So
Okay.
we're now we function as one rep business under Open Concepts, and we kind of
Awesome.
have that that full thermal envelope of doors and panels and floor insulation.
Floor insulation. So you're repping. So let's talk about this. So you guys are repping panels, floors, and doors, all things that thermal subcontractors like ourselves buy. And
Correct.
from a panel standpoint, is it just TrueCore or is it a metal span combination too? I guess tell us a little bit quick history about them too.
It's a combination. Yeah, we have access to all the metal span plants, all the TrueCore plants, but TrueCore is going to be the cold storage panel name moving forward. It's going to take, of course, a few years for that to kind of become reality, but that's what it is for now. So it is the metal span plants and it's the TrueCore plants. We have access to all those, and we'll be selling both of those products.
Awesome. And then also, floor insulation is DuPont.
Correct. Floor insulation is DuPont, and the doors is Jameson.
Very cool.
We also, brought on, which we were pretty stoked about, is Vapor Armor. I don't know how much you know about Vapor Armor.
I know a lot about it. Eric's a great guy.
Eric and Randy are great guys. So we had an incredible meeting with them.
Arguably the best beard in the industry.
Oh yeah. Oh, by far.
And Eric, we hope to have you on the show one day. So if you're hearing this, reach out.
Oh yeah. He's great. Randy's great, and we got the opportunity to rep Vapor Armor. So we have four companies we're repping now. So it's awesome. Man,
that's crazy. So is your workload a ton? Is it a little? Like, are you swamped? Are you just getting in there? Or what territory too? I mean, two questions.
Yeah, we have the territory is a tiny bit different for each product. For the most part, it's the majority of the West Coast. It's California, it's Arizona, Nevada, Washington, Oregon, Utah, Hawaii, and then some vary. Some of the companies, we may not have Idaho or may not have Hawaii, but it's pretty much the West Coast states. 7-8 of them. But yeah, it's a big territory. And as far as workload, it's funny because I'm still learning Jameson door, and I've been doing it for 7 months. Like I'm learning the doors and learning that lingo, and I learn something new every day. So adding on the panels and the floor insulation and Vapor Armor, I'm gonna have to do a lot of training. We're gonna be flying out to visit those guys. So I'm learning every day. I'm busy. I mean, as you probably imagine, like when I started repping Jameson 7 months ago, that first day that my territory was active, it's like a full-on business that you have just already churning. I'm getting calls, I'm getting emails. Like I'm like, I have to call Jameson right away. Hey, like, what does this mean? Like, what is that? Like, it's a full-on.
What's business. A 4-inch deep jam mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's
when he says threshold, what does he mean by that? I understand where you're coming from. As I sold doors for 6 or 7 years. I mean, it took me almost 3 years to be fully grasp not only our product, but know all the competitors' product and understand it fully. And even then you always learn something new. And then once you learn it, people come out with new stuff. So you get to relearn it all over again. So it's never ending. Yeah,
that's exactly right. I feel like I'm just constantly learning now that we're adding on all these other products. I would imagine my dad and I are going to work together probably in the same office just so I can continue to hear his conversations about panels, hear his conversations about floor insulation, be able to quote them and make sure I have so much to learn from him in general, and then also just about these products individually. Because thankfully he's the go-to guy for panels, and he's been repping floor insulation for a long time. So I'll probably be able to pick it up quickly just working with him in the same room for a few months. So I'm looking forward to that and just learning all this stuff in general.
That's awesome.
Well, you got a great teacher. I can tell you that.
Where can we usually do this later in the show, and we'll circle back to it, but where can people find more information out about your company? Like, where can they find you?
That's a good question. We are in the process of our new website.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to be able to launch January 1st. That would be awesome. A little over a month here, but we're working on a new website. So it'll be openconcepts.biz. Will be the website. Working on the social media. I'm working on my LinkedIn game, but I'll definitely be posting from the Open Concepts LinkedIn, and the website will be a good place to check out for more information for sure.
Great.
Fantastic. That is the end of the show question, Jenna.
I know, but we're talking so much about it because it's exciting and it's new. And so I want people to know how to find Yannik. I want
Totally,
people to know how
yeah.
to find Open Concept.
Absolutely. So Yannik, growing up in the industry, and you've been in it for, let's call it a year right now, right? Almost a year. You attended your first trade show as Yannik from Open Concept recently at the SIBA conference in Las Vegas. Any cool moments you want to talk about?
Oh yeah, totally. Just in general, it was so cool to see how close everybody is. I'm like, wow, this is unique. Like you hear about industries that are relationship based, and I had thought I'd been in a couple, but I was like, okay, this is actually what people mean when they say that. Like, this is the first time being in this industry. Just being at SIBA, I'm like, okay, this is actually what a real relationship based business is like. So just hearing like people's stories about them and my dad like 20 years ago or 30 years ago, or just different things like that. And that last night when we were at the cocktail party, just some of those fun times reminiscing and hearing you guys reminisce and laughing. Like, so it's just so clear to me that how like relationship based it is. So I look forward to kind of building that over the years and kind of being a part of that.
I think that's a big reason why people come into this industry and they stay. What for some of our other people that we've interviewed and some of our, relationships that we have, people stay because of this, I don't know, family-like vibe, I guess, that we've built. So yeah, so we're excited you're part of it now.
I know, me too.
I know. What's something that I guess surprised you about the cold storage industry?
That's a good one.
I think it's more construction in general, but I just had this thought that like there was going to be a lot of and hopefully I can cuss, excuse my French, assholes.
Yeah. This is a not safe for work podcast, and we drink on the show, so I did forget to tell you that.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. I just for some reason I assumed there'd be a lot of hard people to work with and assholes, if you will. I just had that like in my mind, like get ready. I had to get myself ready to like deal with that because I hadn't really dealt with that too much. But it was just not the case. Like I'm like.
Not yet, Yannik. You'll get there.
Maybe not yet.
You missed a couple ship dates and yeah. Then
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. I haven't messed up big enough yet to get that.
Yeah.
But no,
it's coming.
Yeah. So I think was my biggest surprise, at least up until now, is that everybody's super nice. They're all welcoming. They're ready to help and welcoming to the industry, and just it was great.
Let me ask you, and this question is probably a little different for you because you grew up in the industry. But one of the things that I thought was so interesting when Vince and I first got together, people would always ask me what he sells doors. Like, what does he do? Like I don't get it. Are they garage doors? Like, people don't understand what the cold storage industry is. So do you have any interesting stories, and even from your own experience of now transitioning into this industry, about what your friends or other family members, might think you do, where they don't really fully understand what our little niche industry does?
It's so funny you bring that up. I was just talking about this yesterday with, I forget who it was. I'm having the hardest time trying to figure out a way, and maybe now it might be easier with my new, merging with my dad, but before merging with my dad, when Open Concepts was just repping Jameson Door, no matter who I told, whether it was a friend, a random person I met, family member, what I was doing, whether it was selling cold storage doors or I have a manufacturer's rep business, everybody looked at me like I was from Mars. Like nobody knows what a manufacturer's rep business. I hadn't heard of what that was before working in cold storage industry.
Yeah.
Never heard of a manufacturer's rep.
Sure.
When I said, I think one time I said, I sell cold storage doors. And I think it was a guy at I was getting a blazer for SIBA. He goes, what? I go, I sell cold storage doors. He literally just went like this.
Right.
I'm like,
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. So I had to totally explain it and get into him. But yeah, no, I've been totally experiencing that. Nobody knows cold storage. They don't know manufacturer's rep. It's so foreign to them. It's funny.
To add to that, so when I left college and interviewed at a cold storage door company, I made the number one mistake any new interview going into a job interview could ever make, and I didn't do any research about the company. So I go to the interview, and
that sounds about right for
you
at that point in your life.
And it was Chuck Zimmerman at the time. God, I love Chuck. He's a beauty. He just looks at me across the desk. He's like, "Do you know what we do?"
Oh gosh.
Whoops.
See the look on his face.
I mean, if anyone could bust out some bullshit, I thought it could be me, but I'm just like, I think you guys sell cold storage doors. And he goes, you know what that is? I go, honestly, I don't know. I don't have no idea. Like, I mean, he should have kicked me out right there.
Yeah.
And I would have never been in this space completely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Chuck, thanks for not kicking me out of the interview.
That's funny.
Good Lord. Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, I think that's interesting. And that's something that we've been having conversations about. And we hope maybe someday our podcast will help people understand what we actually do. Like, because they think we're an integral part of making sure we all stay fed, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're keeping the food supply chain running and going right now. And you know, another one of the reasons, and I say it every podcast, the reason we started this is because people aren't traveling like they used to today. And if we can provide a platform for you, Yannik, to just talk about your company, what you do, you know, that's our goal, right? Is to just get exposure to this space, and just help people connect, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a great goal. It's a great mission to have. So I totally agree. There's a need for it. It's such a niche industry, but it's so big and so important. And it's kind of weird that people don't know more about it. So yeah, what you guys are doing is awesome.
Thank you. Now I'm going to give you that. And I'm going to give you a hard question.
Okay.
A sales question.
Okay.
Why should I buy from you?
Well, if that question is easier to answer now, why you should buy from Open Concepts, I'll say, which is unique to my company, is that my partner, who happens to be my father, has been a contractor for over 30 years. So he knows the contracting side. That's our core customer base. So he's been on that side. He knows that side. He's also a co-founder of a manufacturing company for insulated metal panels, which is one of the products that we offer. So those two things combined are very unique perspective for Open Concepts that I don't think anybody else can say. So from that standpoint, I think it's an awesome side to be on or team to have. Totally. But as far as myself, I don't have the experience, right? So what I had to rely on day one starting my manufacturer's rep business and just in business in general is, I don't have the experience, but what I do have is I have availability, I have communication, I have response time, I have your back. Like things like that are what I can bring. So like that's what I try to make very clear. And hopefully my customers understand that in a few years, he's going to have the experience. He's going to know what he's talking about. But what I appreciate about Yannik is that when I call him, he answers. When I email him, he answers right away. When I text him, he responds. He gets back to me. He doesn't forget. Like, I think those things are underrated and important. And I've noticed in my short, stint in the business world is that people are not like that. Like a lot of people aren't like that. Like, oh, I got this email, but I'll just respond to him in an hour, or I'll respond like tomorrow, or I'll call him back, the next day. Like my hands, like when I'm holding my phone and I get a text from somebody in business or an email, I'm like, it's burning. I have to respond right away.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
I have the same feeling.
So that's what I hope people appreciate. And that's what I can offer at this point.
Well, I think Yannik, you crushed it because as far as the definition or explanation as to why anyone would buy from Yannik, because when we bought our house, why did we buy from Yannik?
Well, he was communicative. He showed up for us.
He showed up. He was on top of it. If you or I texted him like, hey, what about this? What about this? It wouldn't even 30 seconds gone by. And the little bubbles in the messenger were typing away, like you're just on it. You know what I mean? And that's hard to find people that are just on it. Now it's going to get more challenging as you get busier. Right. But you don't strike me as someone that's going to get kind of complacent or lazy by any means.
No,
so
that's built in him.
You're engineered that way. Yeah. That's fantastic.
Yeah. No, thank you.
It's a great quality.
Yes. It was similar back in real estate. I was brand new to real estate. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I knew what hopefully was valued from my clients. So, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it goes back to even talking about relationships. Like you form relationships with people when you listen to what they need, right? When they feel valued, when they feel heard from you, like that brings value to their lives, right? And so that builds better relationships and therefore creates better companies. So I think that's so important. I think our industry, there are people who are doing that really well. Yourself, obviously included in that. And then, there are people that sometimes forget that, not necessarily in our industry, but we've noticed that with the work happening at the house around here lately. The communication is not good and it is frustrating. So I think being on that side of things, we understand that frustration when someone's not listening to us the way that you listen to your clients. So there's a lot of value in that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Totally.
I want to hear a little bit about Freeze.
No one's ever asked us that.
Yeah, no one's ever asked us that. Well, thank you for asking. It's crazy. It's growing, and we're super just buried and swamped and blessed all at the same time. We bought a building,
Yes.
so we're not truck slammers no more, as some people might say. But I try to be as remote as possible.
I've never heard that term before.
That's a long story. I'll get into that later. But
I don't want to know.
So, well, you know, it's hard because I wanted to be completely cloud-based, home-based everywhere. And I believed in that forever, and I wanted that. And then it just, you know, as we started to scale and, you know, bring in a CFO or an accountant, more project managers and stuff, we just really needed a central home base where we could all collaborate together. And this space down the road, this commercial property opened up for us on a lake of all places. And it's, you know, 3,600 square feet, and
it's good size.
It's awesome size, way too big for us, but that's okay. It's just, you know, yeah. So we bought a building, and, you know, we'll use Jenna's awesome interior design skills to get that decked out the way we want it.
Thanks. They're not as good as Carla's,
Yeah,
but
so.
I try my best.
Yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. How exciting. I can't wait to see when that's
yeah. It's going, man. It's good. I mean, we couldn't do it without great partners in the industry, great friendships along the way, general contractors, partners of all the suppliers and vendors out there, you know, the Jamesons and, you know, the DuPont floors and the True Cores, right? I'm just going to name all the people you rep. Yeah. Metal Span.
Can you repeat those? Yeah.
One more plug, please.
Yeah. So no, everything's good, man. It's all good. And I'm going to give you what do they call it? A cool rapid round question.
We're not there yet. I have one more question.
I understand that, but we're going to give you a cool rapid round question that is sponsored by Freeze Construction.
Yes.
Okay.
But
after Jenna's question.
Before we go there,
yeah.
I ask this question of every single one, and you might have answered it in some way, shape, or form, but I think there's something really cool about our industry, pun intended, obviously. And I wanted to know if you, either in growing up in it or being in it now, if they, or even in that time where you said like, I really wish I had made a different decision. What cool thing do you think is going to make you stay in this industry? Like I said, people stay here. There's like a cool moment where you go, wow, this is a cool place to be. Like, I want to stay and be a part of this. And there's been some really interesting moments for us in our experience of that. So I always like to ask our guests, like, did you have a moment that you're like, dang, this is a cool place to be?
Yeah, definitely. When I got to partner with my dad and have that become official, that was kind of that moment. And I'm like, okay, wow, like I have like the best mentor I could have in this industry. And now he's my partner. So I think at that moment was like, I realized, okay, this is, you know, I could be doing this forever. Like this is probably what I'll be doing. So that was kind of the moment where I'm like, I'm gonna be here for a while.
That's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Another chapter to the legacy.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Now you can do your cool.
Man, this is my favorite.
round
This is my
question. I
favorite
know
part
it
of the
is.
show, man. This is good. So I have a few questions for you. We call this the cool rapid round questions. So
Fun.
It's just for fun to get to know Yannik more.
Okay.
We can dive into your selections if a little bit more, because I want to, because, you know, you got some advice and, you know, some fantasy
You know where
football.
this is going. You know where this is
you know.
going.
Okay.
I want to know.
I'll be back later.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I have 6 questions for you.
Okay.
And it's one or the other. No in between funny
Some
business.
people have been trying to pull that.
You got to just one or the other, man. If you had to pick, you know, icicle to your head, got to pick. Okay.
Oh boy.
All right. You ready? You ready for this? Wrap around question. Here we go. Fantasy football, first pick or 12th pick?
First pick.
Ooh, okay. All right. I like it.
As he takes notes.
I can give you a brief explanation if you want, or if you want.
You know what I want to know? Real quick, I want to know.
I've done the 12th pick in a 12-man league before. I've done the 10th pick in a 10-man league before. I can come up with some pretty good teams, But I think the team that always wins the championship is the guy that hits gold on the workhorse running back in the first 1, 2, 3, 4 picks. Whoever can get that guy and have him be a rock on his team the rest of the year, he's got a good shot at a championship.
Sure. So there's teams that I've been seeing that have 12 team leagues, and they're on the wheel. They're the 12th pick, and they landed Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler.
Now
Are you kidding me?
That's the outlier.
There you go.
Normally it's a wide receiver, and normally one of them's not amazing, and you end up having a decent team, but not the best. Totally. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor and Eckler, that's like beyond outlier.
That's cheat code this year.
That's cheat code this year.
Totally. All right. Maserati or Porsche?
Now Porsche. Back, ask me 10 years ago, Maserati, but Porsche now for sure.
Porsche. Awesome. Okay. So is it cocktails by the beach or cocktails by the pool?
I'm a pool guy. I'm a pool guy.
Okay. So going into that, cold drink or cold beer?
Cold beer. Cold Corona with a lime is the best.
Oh, that's a good one.
Dang.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, by the pool. I like it.
Yep.
Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
I'm sorry, Vince. It's Brady.
I'm a Brett Favre fan. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
All right, fine. All confident.
All the Packer gear in the background. Yeah. Don't let that intimidate you.
Don't let that intimidate you. So the my favorite question that you can't hurt my feelings on. This will impact me emotionally, but Justin Timberlake or Justin Bieber?
Oh gosh, yeah. Again, I'm sorry, Bieber.
Oh, the Biebs. All right, I'm digging the Biebs right now. I'm digging his new vibe.
I know you are.
For sure. Well, Yannik, thank you so much, man. Great having you on. I know you're swamped and super busy, and everyone is super busy, and you're probably like itching at the fingers to answer the 40 emails you got and text message you got during this 30-minute show. But we appreciate your time. Again, how can people find Yannik and Dean on Open Concept?
That's a good question. LinkedIn for now. We'll definitely be launching our website very soon, and we'll make sure that's everywhere for everyone to see. So website soon. LinkedIn for now. Open Concepts. You can follow both of us just by our names on LinkedIn. But I really appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Yannik. All right. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe to Cool Times Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram.
All the socials.
You can slide into our DMs here if you would like to be a guest on the show. And until next time, stay cool, guys.
Bye.